prophecy of closed gates. The end times prophecy of the temple and its measurement has many different things stated. What occurs with the Messiah's temple, the true Messiah's temple? What about these false Messiah's temple and their gates? Let us look. The measuring of the third temple is in the end times prophecy to find out what the temple really is, that it's a false Messiah's temple. Revelation chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. In looking to their third temple that they claim to be the temple of Ezekiel, in the Messiah's temple it says that the gates will never be closed, day or night. But we know that these security gates and bars and so forth in the city will be secured in a security apparatus, and they will end up being closed. They're not going to stay and remain open continually. One of the clues that the third temple is not the temple of the Messiah is that the entire state of Israel's security apparatus has security bars, walls, and gates continually. And that's how we know, even through Ezekiel 38, that Gog and Magog isn't until after the Messiah reign. It says in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 11, And thou shalt say, I will go up to a land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. So we know that when the real Gog and Magog occurs of Ezekiel 38, occurs after the Messiah has come and everybody's dwelling at peace with no walls. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 12 says, To take spoil and to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. And he continues on to say about their safety. In verse 14, Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, Thus saith the Lord God, In that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shall thou not know it. So we actually know that this is not for today. And that when they build this temple, what you will see is you will see security apparatuses and security checks and everything else, because they'll turn this temple into a temple of merchandise, just like they have from the beginning. And instead of peace, the Gentiles sacked Jerusalem. Revelation chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. When is this 42 months? The scriptures tell you. It tells you the same 42 months when the beast sacks Jerusalem. Revelation chapter 13, verse 5, talks about power will be given him for 42 months. And what power is that? It's in Revelation chapter 17, 16 and 17, where it talks about the kings of the earth, 10 horns, and the beast, that they get angry at Jerusalem and sack Jerusalem. That is the will of God. And so those 42 months in which Revelation chapter 13, verse 5 talks about the beast being able to continue for 42 months. And in verse 7 it says he will be given power over all kindreds, nations, languages, and tongues. That 42 months he's given power from Jerusalem. And that's the same 42 months that's mentioned in Revelation chapter 11, verse 2. So what we'll end up seeing is a comparison between the two. During this fake temple, the Gentiles are coming in to sack Jerusalem for 42 months. And in the Messiah's temple of the end times, when Christ rules, the gates will be open continually for them, for the Gentiles to come in and worship Christ. They won't be sacking the temple when Christ returns. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 3 through 5 says, And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. For the nations and the Gentiles, the gates will be open continually for the Messiah's temple. And it continues on in Isaiah chapter 60, verse 11 and 12. It says, For thy gates shall be open continually, They shall not be shut by day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So we see this between the comparison of the third temple and the Messiah's reign is obviously clear. That the third temple that's to be built is not the Messiah's temple, because the Gentiles will come in and tread underfoot for 42 months the third temple. Obviously not the temple of the Messiah, and thus there's going to be security apparatus of the state of Israel at their locations with security bars, checkpoints, gates, police, people doing scans, making sure that they can come and enter in according to their security apparatuses and security protocols. The gates will be closed at times because there is no peace. And we see a lot of the foreshadows in this with the New Jerusalem and the prophecy of Revelation. Revelation 21 verse 10 says, "And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and shewed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. And this New Jerusalem has no bars or gates, and the people dwell safely, and the Gentiles come." And we can see that here. Revelation chapter 21, verse 24 through 26. "And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it." And what kings shall bring their glory and honor into it? The 24 elders are given crowns, and they're the princes of Israel. Christ is the prince of the kings of the earth, the prince of princes, in which Christ becomes the king of kings. When Christ becomes the king over the kings, the princes of Israel, the 24 elders, are also becoming kings to rule over the earth, as dominion is taken from the kings of the earth who fight against Christ, and it's going to be given to the elders to rule over the nations. Those are the kings that are going to come in and bring in the glory and honor to it. It's not the kings of the current earth. So we know that those prophecies in Isaiah that they're going to try to push to be fulfilled, and the likeness thereof, is not for today. It's after the kings of the world have been defeated by Christ. And the true princes of Israel, which become kings under Christ, will be going into their gates. And those gates will not be shut by night or by day at all. Zechariah chapter 14 verse 11 talks about when Christ has come and people are dwelling safely. It says, "The men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited." Jerusalem is safely inhabited in Zechariah chapter 14, the prophecy of the Messiah. Zechariah chapter 14 verse 16 and 17 says, "And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall come that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain." So those nations who do not come up and worship will end up perishing, and thus the fulfillment of Isaiah, talking about the gates not closing, and the nations end up being perishing who do not come and serve the Lord. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 11 and 12 says, "Therefore thy gates shall be opened continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted." That term wasted is a term that means to be withered away and wasted, just like a tree that doesn't have rain. And this is what the elders say about Christ. In Revelation chapter 15 verse 4 says, "Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee. For thy judgments are made manifest." So we see that all the nations will be required to come to the gates, through the gates, to get rain and to worship Christ. And this is when the real Messiah returns, that all nations will serve him. And this is talked about in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 14. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. And this is how the third temple will not be the Messiah's temple, because it will be sacked. It will come to an end. Revelation chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. The temple having the Gentile nations tread underfoot the temple for 42 months means they're sacking the temple and treading underfoot like grapes, like somebody treading the winepress. And obviously, that when the Gentiles are going to tread the next temple, it clearly is not the Messiah's temple. This is how you will know that this is a false temple. The gates will close, the security apparatus will be implemented. It will not be people dwelling safely. Muslims are going to uprise. They're going to have huge walls trying to protect the temple from Muslims throwing stuff over the wall into that. It's just going to be chaos. And this is how we know that this prophecy of what they're trying to promote in Israel today is a false prophecy. They're actually building up walls of untempered mortar, and they're preparing the people for destruction, because their gates will close. There will be security concerns, there will be threats, there will be Muslims attacking, and they will end up having security gates that have to close during certain periods. And we know that the Messiah's prophecy says that the gates will never close. This is the prophecy of the gates to close.